Last call, all aboard the last call. Welcome to the last call for the week of February 28th, 2015. And what a strange and bizarre week it's been. We've had wild dramas being chased through Arizona, and the internet ablaze with a color change dress that I still don't understand. I've seen it three ways now. I've seen it black and blue, gold and white, and lavender and brown. It's a magical, mysterious dress. And this is even before we get into the nerd news for the week. I guess the big thing for the week was the passing of Leonard Nimoy, who most people would remember as Spock from the Star Trek franchise. And if you were a fan of the recent hit series Fringe, he was Dr. Bell on that show as well. He will be missed by many. It's always a sad week when you lose one of the all-time greats in nerddom. Aside from that, Marvel had released a new set of posters for Avengers Age of Ultron. They first revealed a group shot, which looked really kind of busy and kind of generic. I thought it was a bunch of individual posters pasted together with no real feel or dynamic. But it was strange because they later on released individual posters, which didn't look anything like the posters in the group shot, and the posters don't look like they come together either. So it's really strange how they're doing it. Some of the individual posters does look really cool, so check that out if you get a chance to. It's been a big, strange, curious week for revivals, as it came out this week that Disney is looking to revive Ducktales for 2017, which seems like a long time from now. 2 years really flies by. But this is coming to Disney XD, which I will be curious to see if that channel still exists by 2017. Not only that, but news that Netflix would be reviving or showcasing a new Inspector Gadget series. This is a bit different. Apparently, this show already airs. It's CG. Does not look that great, but you can never tell with these shows. They're also doing a Danger Mouse reboot, which, again, one of those franchises that I don't think there's enough love for it, but I guess people are realizing that 80s kids are growing up, they have kids of their own, they have access to all of these things, so nostalgia is big in that market, so why not cater to it? Like, I'm sure I'm going to check out Inspector Gadget, I'm going to check out Danger Mouse, I'm going to definitely check out DuckTales, and if I have kids, I'm going to show them because I grew up on these shows and they were good for me, so why can't they be good enough for my kids? We shall see. Like I said, it's really been strange, and that's not all. We had news of Lionsgate partnering with Telltale to do what they call super shows. Still not entirely sure what that is, but it sounds like an intriguing enough idea that this sounds generic and utterly stupid. It can either blow up and be something special, or just kind of fade and be this weird experiment we never really talk about anymore. Or it's going to become the go-to for, you remember when Telltale did that super show? Yeah, let's not do that again. On the TV front, DC has been busy with their shows. We got word that Dean Cain, Superman from the Lois and Clark, The New Adventures of Superman, and Helen Sater, the original Supergirl from the 1984 movie, would be appearing on the CBS Supergirl show. That's an interesting dynamic. I'm curious to see who they are. I can see them playing her Earth parents, which would be really kind of cool. It's just the same way that John Wesley Snipes is the Flash father, Barry Allen's father on the Flash TV show now. We got word of a new Arrow Flash crossover spin-off TV series that right now would look to unite Black Canary, the original Black Canary Sarah, not Arrow, at the Atom, half of Firestorm or a third of Firestorm, depending on how they do that, and Captain Cold. It's an interesting dynamic, and I'm kind of curious to hear more. Like again, this show doesn't seem like it makes sense on paper, but between Arrow and the Flash, you have to give the creative team the benefit of the doubt. They've been knocking it out of the park. We got word of a new Alien film being done. It seems to be going back and forth. Some people say it originally came out that this would redo or move Aliens Resurrection and Aliens 3 out of continuity, but now the director is saying that that's not his intentions, that if it happens, it happens. So either way, we're curious about that. There's words of a new Blade Runner sequel with Harrison Ford in it. I, Harrison Ford's one of my all-time favorites, but it also does seem like he's just been half-assing it out of his movies recently. So we'll see how that goes. We got more words on the Lego movie sequels. There's going to be an Adventure Time movie. It's been a really hectic week for a lot of not non-announcements, but a lot of these things have come through your traditional channels where it's not necessarily like Warner Brothers saying like, "Oh, we're going to do a Adventure Time movie." This kind of dropped on social media with a poster, and then a lot of sites kind of picked up on it and ran with that. So I'm curious to see what happens with that. And a lot of people are excited for that. We got our first still from the Gem and the Holograms film. That looks really kind of trippy. Gem's getting a new comic book franchise. Speaking of comic books, Archie is doing a Mega Man and Sonic crossover again. This time it seems to be more of an inclusive thing. We got word that not only will it include Mega Man and Mega Man X, Sonic and Sonic Boom characters, but it will also include characters from Billy Hatcher and the Giant Egg, Alex Kidd, Skies of Arcadia, Street Fighter, Monster Hunter. It's like a who's who of classic Sega and Capcom franchises all mixing up into this huge, exciting world. I am beyond stoked for that, and I'm a huge fan of the original crossover between these two properties, and that trade's coming out in May, so I'm excited to pick that up. Catwoman came out as bi in the pages of Catwoman 39, and this was confirmed pretty much right away by the writer. I think it would make her the biggest LGBT character from either DC or Marvel to come out. I mean, we had Green Lantern and Marvel has characters, but Catwoman is an established. I mean, she's been in pretty much any Batman media going back to the Adam West series in 1966, and it's just an iconic character that everybody knows. So that's, I mean, that's a big deal, but some people are reacting to it differently. It depends on your point of view. It's curious to see what's going to shake out. We had this really dark and gritty Power Rangers reboot fan video called Power Shast Rangers. That it's out there to check it out if it's still around. There's been some back and forth between that company and Saban, as I completely understand what their viewpoint. They don't necessarily want to associate their franchise with dark and gritty. Um, this week saw the end of Parks and Recreations after 7th season. I'm honestly sad to see that show go. It was one of my favorite comedies and one of the best comedies airing on TV right now. It's always disappointing to lose one of your favorites. It was also the end. I should clarify, not the end, no possible end of Agent Carter this week. It went out with a bang. It was a fun season, a bit uneven at times, but overall I think it was probably okay. It's not hard to say Marvel's best TV show when they have two of them. So yes, it was easy Marvel's best TV show. It was also the season finale of How to Get Away with Murder. I seem to be in the minority in how much I didn't necessarily care for that, but a lot of people seem to have cared, and it is what it is. I just felt like at this point, they're just killing everybody. It just defeats the purpose. At some point, everything has to catch up with them, right? There's word going around that Batman Arkham Knight may possibly be M-rated, and that has gotten a lot of people excited. I'm not necessarily sure why. I hate the really, really gritty Batman, the Frank Miller-esque Batman. That stuff has always driven me nuts. It's just not the character. I've always found that he works much better in a middle ground, where he can kind of be mopey and depressed and emo, but still kind of open to friendships and stuff like that. So I'm hoping the M is more kind of story related and not necessarily like the gruff, angry Batman that we sometimes get with these extreme projects. The Tomb Raider reboot franchise, the movie, not the game, because that's everything's being rebooted with Tomb Raider, got a writer who is known for stuff like Divergent, Ashley Ninja Turtle, and Snowman, Snow White and the Huntsman show. It doesn't necessarily ring. It's not a ringing endorsement that this is going to be a great film, but it's a director. I mean, a writer, I should say. So we shall see. And last but not least, words of Guitar Hero and Rock Band revivals for this year. So yay for the classic instrument revival. I'm sure that's going to get a ton of people excited who spent $200 last gen on each of these games and then realized they have a bunch of accessories they no longer need around the house. So that will be it for the last call. Hope you had your fill, and we'll catch you next week.